So we are here to understand about the Informatica Power Center, right? So it's an Informatica Power Center training that we have now. So speaking about Informatica Power Center, so it is an ETL tool. So this is an ETL tool in the data warehousing environment, right? So since we are entering into the data warehousing environment, so I'm going to cover all the data warehousing concepts for the first 3 to 4 classes. Yes. So we are going to understand about what is a data warehouse, what is an OLTP systems, what is an OLAP system, right? So what kind of modeling do we use here? So what kind of tables are present, right? So what is the role of Informatica and what is the role of ETL tools here? So what is the role of reporting tools? So all these basic data warehousing concepts we are going to understand, right? So in the first 3 to 4 classes. So once we have understood about these data warehousing fundamentals, we are going to, yes, I'll walk you down into the Power Center. Because if you are learning Informatica Power Center, means that you are you're entering into the data warehousing. You're starting your data warehousing career. So if you're starting your data warehousing career, so these concepts will not leave you in your project. These concepts will not leave you. You have to understand them. So that is the reason for the first 3 to 4 classes we are going to understand about all the fundamentals. So then we'll understand what is the ETL tool and what is it all about. Okay. So as a part of this training, so we are going to understand even the mini project, and so when we discuss the classes, we are going to work on this mini project. So we are going to implement this as a part of this training. So when implementing, so you will understand what is your role, what are your responsibilities, how does the project architecture will be there, right? So what is the process, how does the process happens in the real time, so what is the project life cycle. So we are going to understand about all these things while we are dealing with this mini project that we have. Okay. So since for the first 3 to 4 classes we are going to understand only about the data warehousing environment or the data warehousing concept. So the prerequisite for learning this Power Center is that you need to have a good knowledge on SQL, very good knowledge on SQL. I can say strong knowledge on SQL, yes, and good knowledge on Unix commands, and good knowledge on Unix scripting. So these are the prerequisites for learning Informatica Power Center. So not only Informatica Power Center, so whatever ETL tool that you learn, so these are the prerequisites so that we have it. Okay. Right. So you need to understand you need to have good knowledge on sound knowledge on all these 3 classes or these 3 concepts. Okay. So since we have for the first 3 classes we are going to understand only the data warehousing concepts. So I want you to all just brush up the SQL knowledge that we have. So from tomorrow onwards we are going to start our regular sessions. For today we'll try to understand what is a data warehouse, what is an OLTP systems, and what is an OLAP systems. Okay. Yes. So for any organization, yes, or any company, so data plays a major role. Data plays a major role. So what is the purpose of storing the data? The main purpose of storing the data is for data analysis, or it's a business analysis. The main purpose of storing the data is for the business analysis. So let's try and understand how we perform the business analysis and what are the different strategies that we have and what are the different systems that we have for performing the business analysis. Okay. So let's take an example of some McDonald's restaurant. So we have a McDonald's restaurant. So what is this McDonald's? So this McDonald's is nothing but it's a fast food restaurant that basically serves the food items to the customers, right? So whenever a customer asks for any food item entering into the McDonald's outlet, right? So what happens? The agent over there is going to enter the customer details into the through the front-end application. So you will be having a front-end interface or a application, right? So even if you wanted to make any online order also, so what you have to do? You have to go into the McDonald's website, right? So order online. You give your details, right? So where is your address? What is your phone number? All those things. Then you order for the food items that you need. So when you do that, what happens? You will be having a front-end interface or the front-end interface where you enter all these details, right? So that is nothing but a front-end application. So this front-end application is designed by using some programming languages. So that could be PHP, right? That could be designed on .NET. That could be designed on Java or a D2K forms. So these are all the different programming languages that we have. So that basically is useful for the designing of the front-end interfaces. So since this front-end application or the front-end interfaces is not capable of storing that information that the users are entering, so we need to gather that information at some place in order to have the future reference, in the business analysis. So we have to store the data somewhere. So where we are going to store the data? So for this purpose we have something called as a backend technologies. Backend technologies such as server or the database, right? So since the front-end application is not capable of storing the data, so in order to manage all the users' data, so from the front-end application we are storing the data into the server or the database, right? So the data, yes, since the data has to be stored somewhere in order to have the future reference, right? So we have these backend technologies, which is nothing but a server or a database. So the information from the front end, so whatever the user is entering the data, that data will be entered into the database. That data will be entered into the database. So what is this database? So a database is nothing but it's a software package. A database is nothing but it's a software package where the data is stored in the form of tables. We store the data in the form of tables, right? So we store the data in the form of tables. So we have different databases that we have in the market, right? So we have popularly Oracle is the database, SQL Server is the database, right? We have Teradata, Sybase, right? MySQL. So these are all the different databases that we have, so which stores the data in the form of tables, right? So how do you communicate with these databases? We have some standard language called as structured query language. Structured query language. So this language, using this language, we are going to communicate with the databases that we have. So SQL is a standard is a language that can communicate with any of the database, right? Any of the database. So when you understand about the databases here, we have to understand something called as OLTP systems. OLTP systems. So what is this OLTP systems? Let's go and understand. So the databases, right? So the databases are used to store the data. Databases are used to store the data. So whenever you have any application or whenever you have any business, for all the operational aspects of the system, we are going to use the data, we are going to store the data in the place called as OLTP databases, right? So all the operational transactions of any business, we are going to store the data in the OLTP databases, and those systems are called as the OLTP systems, which are nothing but online transactional processing systems. So any business that you see in the current real time, these are all depending on the OLTP system. They are nothing but the online transactional processing system. So the OLTPs are nothing but for every business, these are the backbones that stores the day-to-day transactions. So whatever transaction that you do, whatever day-to-day transaction that you do, right, all those transactions will be stored into the database or the OLTP database. So these OLTPs are the systems, these are the data processing systems where its design is operated in such a way that it can receive a single record at a time. So when you talk about the examples of this OLTP system, so you can speak about any railway applications, or the banking applications, any financial applications, or any order entry applications, right? So any kind of e-commerce applications. Yes, so like Flipkart, you can take Flipkart or eBay, yes, or Amazon, right? So these are all the examples of, or you can take Walmart or a Big Brother, right? So whatever. So all these things comes under the OLTP systems. So OLTP systems are nothing but these are the systems which contains the which are available for every individual for processing the request. So whenever you book a product in this OLTP system, let us say if you take an example of Amazon. So when you book a product into this OLTP system, through this OLTP system, what is going to happen? You are going to add the data to the OLTP databases. You are going to add the data. So that is nothing but a transaction. Right? So you are going to do the transactions by using this OLTP systems. So you go for a bank, you debit some amount or you credit some amount. So that is nothing but a transaction. That system is nothing but a OLTP system. Right? So all the operational transactions of this particular OLTP systems are stored to the OLTP database, right? By using the transaction. So the transaction is nothing but it's a set of DML operation. It's a set of DML operation. Means what you are going to do? So you are going to insert the data. You are going to update the data. Yes, you are going to delete the data. Right? You insert the data. So whenever you book a product, means your record on your name will be inserted into the database. Right? So whenever you do any other transaction, so let us say you have debited some amount from your account. So what happens? Your current balance will be updated. Right? So whenever you just deactivate your account, your account details will be deleted from the OLTP database. So this is nothing but a transaction. So you are going to perform a frequent transaction. So all the users of the OLTP systems will be performing a frequent transactions on this OLTP systems. So the OLTP systems are basically, these are the backbones of any enterprise. So for whenever you set up a business, you have to you have to first set up the OLTP systems. Right? So these are the first parts of any organization that has to be computerized. Right? Any questions so far about OLTP systems? Any questions? So it's DML is nothing but it's a data manipulation language. Manipulation. So whenever the data is present, you are going to manipulate that. Manipulate. DML operation is nothing but data manipulation language that contains these three commands: insert, update, and the delete. Okay. Right. So whenever you have the OLTP system, so let us say I have three different OLTP systems here in USA. I'm going back to the McDonald's example. So let us say I have a McDonald's outlet in New York. Okay. So this is present on SAP. Yes, I have Boston. I have, this is present on Teradata, and I have another OLTP system in New Jersey which is present on mainframes. Okay, so we have different OLTP systems here across USA, right? So all the New York transactions will be stored in the SAP, all the Boston transactions will be stored in the Teradata, all the New Jersey transactions will be stored in the mainframe. So these are all the different OLTP systems, right? So which the McDonald contains. So when we talk about these different OLTP systems here, so let us say if I am the I'm the sales manager of USA for McDonald, and I wanted to analyze how the business is running across USA, right? And the sales manager, I wanted to understand how the business is running across USA. So for that, what I'm going to do, so I have to first walk down into New York. I have to check how the business is running. After that, I have to walk down into Boston, check how the business is running. I have to walk down to New Jersey, and I have to check how the business is running. So being a sales manager, do I have that much time to go for every system and understand how the business is running? No, I don't have that much time, right? So whenever you have the data present in the OLTP system, so it is difficult for me to understanding, or it's a time consuming process. It's a time consuming process. It's a time consuming process in order to analyze how the business is running when you have the data in the OLTP system. And another thing is that, so OLTP system always contains the current data. So current data in the sense, so if you go for the so when it is giving you the last 5 to 10 transactions, it is nothing but it's the current data. So the ATM withdrawal center is built on the OLTP system, which contains only the current data. So when we wanted to analyze the business, this current data is not going to support you properly because it contains the at present data. So if I want to analyze how the business is running, so I have to compare my business with the different time periods. Means I have to compare this month transactions with last month, or this month or this year transaction with last year, or this quarter transaction to the last quarter. So this is what you call it as an analysis. When you wanted to analyze how the business is running, so the current data is not going to support you, right? So the OLTP system always it contains the current data, right? And the OLTP systems, it does not have integrated data. No integrated data is present in the OLTP system because you can see you need to understand, you need to analyze the business across USA, but you need an integrated report to understand how the business is running. But if you check in the OLTP system, you have the data present in different forms and different locations. See, you have the New York's data present here, you have the Boston data present here, and you have the New Jersey data present here. So the data is not integrated here. So the data is scattered across multiple locations, so which is difficult for me to analyze how the business is running across a single country, right? So no integrated data is present. And if you see here, different patterns will be there. Different patterns are followed. Yes, different patterns are followed in each OLTP system. See, so when you talk about, so let us say, when you speak about the gender attribute, so the standard that is followed here is MF. Okay, the standard that is followed here, let us say it's male, female, and the standard that is followed here is 10. Okay, so we have different standards that is being followed in different OLTP systems. But so whenever you analyze the business, you need a homogeneous format in order to understand the business, right? So you have different standards here. So different patterns are present in the OLTP system. So because of all these disadvantages that you have, whenever you wanted to analyze the business that presents in the OLTP system, you need some solution in order to do the business analysis properly, right? So you have all these disadvantages. So in order to overcome all these disadvantages that you have here, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to extract the data from multiple OLTPs. Yes, I'm going to extract the data from multiple OLTPs, which is called as data extraction. Which is called as the data extraction, and I'll transform the data that is extracted, which is called as data transformation, and I'll load the data into the into a single database, which is called as a data loading, right? So you can see here the data that is present in multiple OLTP systems, I'm extracting the data and I'm transforming the data and I'm loading the data into a very big database, which is called as a data warehouse, right? Data warehouse. So what is this data warehouse? The data warehouse is nothing but it's a concept, it's a theory, or a concept. It's a theory or a concept, right, which contains the large volumes of data that is getting from multiple OLTP systems, right? So the data warehouse is again a database. It's again a database. So you can build a data warehouse on any kind of database. You can build it on Oracle, you can build it on Teradata, you can build it on Sybase, you can build it on SQL Server. So you can build a data warehouse on any kind of database. Yes. So a data warehouse is again a database that contains large volumes of data that is extracted from multiple OLTPs, yes, which is transformed, and we are going to load the data into the data warehouse. So the data warehouse is nothing but it's a database that contains huge volumes of data, right? So this process of data extraction, data transformation, and data loading is what we call it as a ETL process: extraction, transformation, and loading. Right? Extraction, transformation, and loading. Right? So whenever you have the data in the data warehouse, right? Whenever you have the data in the data warehouse, so what's going to happen? We are going to perform the business analysis. So every transaction from all the OLTPs, at the end of the day, all the transactions will be loaded into the data warehouse. Since all the transactions are loaded into the data warehouse, we call it as a integrated data. So we have the integrated data present here. Yes, we have the integrated data present here, and we call the data as a historical data. Historical data. Right? So what is meant by historical data? So whenever you create a data warehouse, you are not going to perform any kind of delete operation or update operation on the data warehouse. You are not going to perform, right? So you it's a kind of read-only database. Read-only means you cannot make any kind of deletions or updations on the data warehouse. You cannot do that. You're not supposed to do that, right? So every transaction will be present in this data warehouse. So that is the reason large volumes of data will be present in the database, in this particular database. So whenever a database contains the historical data, so you can compare your business, you can analyze your business. Yes, so you can perform decisions upon that. So when you have the data warehouse, it is easy for you. It is easy for the business users or the clients to analyze how the business is running, right? So which outlet is getting a good revenue, right? So whether my business is going into the loss zone or the profit zone. So who are the best customers I have? So in what days I am getting good revenue, on which product I am getting good revenue. So what promotions I can do on the existing products in order to attain good profit on that. So how much profit I am getting on a daily basis, on the monthly basis, right? So these kind of analytical decisions I can perform whenever you have the data in the data warehouse. So you can compare your business with different time periods. You can compare your business with different time periods. Like you can compare your business on a timely basis, on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on the quarterly basis, or on the yearly basis, right? So since you can quickly take decisions upon the data warehouse, this system is called as decision supporting system. Decision supporting system. Yes, sir. You can perform, yes, you can take decisions very quickly, yes, when you have the data warehouse, because it contains the data over a period of time. It contains the data over a period of time, right? So then, yes, because of that importance, we call this data as a decision supporting system. So once you have the data present in the data warehouse, so let us say I am the sales manager of the company. So I don't know, I'm not a technical guy to understand the huge volumes of data and analyze how the business is running, right? So I cannot write a query to understand how the business is running, right? So for serving this particular business purpose, so I have another layer in the data warehouse, which is called as a presentation layer. So we have here something called as BI layer, or the presentation layer. So what does this BI layer do? So we have some BA tools here. So we have some BA tools or reporting tools. So what does these tools do is that, right? So they are going to perform a select query. They are going to perform a select query on the data warehouse, and they create reports. They create reports. So they represent the data in the form of either a bar graph, yes, or a pie chart, or a tabular format, or in a tabular format. Yes, they represent the data in these formats or this way, and they send that to the business users. So when the business users study the reports, they are going to analyze how the business is running. Okay, right? So the BA tools or the reporting tools, they basically work on the data warehouse, and they represent the data in the form of reports. So by seeing the reports, the business users are going to understand how the business is running, right? So when we talk about the ETL process here, so who is going to do this ETL process? So the ETL tools, right, are going to perform this business process, like ETL process, like data extraction from multiple OLTP systems, transformation, and they load the data into the data warehouse. So we have different ETL tools in the market. So most importantly, it's Informatica Power Center is the ETL tool, and we have Data Stage, which is from IBM. We have SSIS, which is from Microsoft. We have Ab Initio. Yes, so this is from Ab Initio Corporation, and Informatica Power Center is from the Informatica Corporation. So these are all the popular ETL tools that you have, so which basically extracts the data from multiple OLTPs, transforms the data, and loads the data into the data warehouse. So once these ETL tools loads the data into the data warehouse, we have the BA tools coming into picture, and they represent the data in the form of reports. So what are the different BA tools that you have? So we have the most importantly, it's Cognos, which is from IBM. We have SAP BO. We have MicroStrategy. We have Hyperion. So these are all the different BA tools or the reporting tools, right? So which basically perform, which basically query the data. Query is nothing but selecting the data, which basically queries the data from the data warehouse, and they represent the data in the form of reports. So reports are nothing but it will be in a more interactive format. Yes. So which will make you understand your business correctly. Yes, your business correctly. Yes. So this is how the process happens. So you are going to learn Informatica now. So Informatica nothing but it's a ETL tool. So which basically extracts the data from multiple OLTP systems, transforms the data, and loads the data into the data warehouse. So it's a ETL tool. So what is your role? Your role is it's a ETL developer. ETL developer. Your role is an ETL developer. So as an ETL developer, so what you're going to do, you're going to design the ETL plans. You're going to design the plan of ETL, like from which table you are extracting the data, yes, like how you are transforming the data, and onto which table you are loading the data. So this is nothing but a ETL plan. So as a ETL developer, by using this Informatica Power Center tool, you extract the data from multiple OLTP systems, transform the data, and load the data into the data warehouse. Yes. So any questions so far? Any questions? Right. So from tomorrow's class, from tomorrow's sessions, the class starts at the same time. So every day it will be 1 hour to 1.5 hour. For the first classes, we will have 1 hour. So depending upon the scenario, so we may go for sometime 1.5 even, 1.5 hour. So 1.15 to 1.3. Okay. So it will be, it's a 25-day course. It may take 25 days to 30 days. It may take. So every day it's 1 hour. And so as a part of this training, we are going to give you the VMware. So that contains Informatica 9.5 version, so which is the latest version, and Oracle and SQL developer. So you can work on this. VMware. So that contains this. And if it is required for you, so I'll show even the installation. How we can do the installation. Okay, I will send you the softwares. Okay. Yes, sir. So any more questions? So
Venkatesh, is it mandatory to know Oracle also, like besides SQL Server?
Any RDBMS is good. So not only Oracle. Okay, any RDBMS is good. Any good knowledge on any RDBMS. Okay, whether it is Oracle or SQL Server or MySQL or Teradata. So any more questions, please let me know. Okay. Okay, so I presume now we have questions, so I will end up the day. So if you have any questions, please refer to the video and let me know in tomorrow's class. Okay. Thank you.